listening to Give God 90, where we're not afraid of the tough biblical questions, because we will dig through the language, the culture, and the history to find the truth revealed in the words of our Creator.
I wanna see the light.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for letting us share part of your day. My name's Jerry Mitchell. Sitting next to me is the lovely and soundproof Myra.
Hello, everyone.
I'm making fun of her. When she was putting her earphones in a minute ago, one of them was a little loud.
It scared me.
She jumped. It scared her.
I'm now missing an eardrum in that ear.
We want to thank everyone for joining us tonight. It is so nice when we look out there and see all the folks that listen. I get the statistics once a week, and I look and I'm like, oh wow, look at all these new folks that are coming in, all the people that are listening when they can. I know this week's a little hectic for everybody out there, all over the world. You've got things going on, and we are really, really happy you took some time to give us a listen. Before we get into a whole lot, I want to remind everybody the website's there. Go take a look at that, givegod90.com. I have not updated that in about 2 weeks. My bad. I usually don't do a whole lot to it anyway. I just go in and make sure everything's where it's supposed to be. But we've been really, really busy and just haven't added a whole lot to it other than what's, it automatically updates certain things. Don't forget the books out there. Another one coming out. I hope we are down to about 6 or 8 weeks out. Aren't we?
Yes.
Editor.
Yes.
Okay. On a personal note tonight, I need to say this. My niece had a pony stolen from her locked pasture yesterday. The area we live in currently doesn't have a whole lot of livestock rustling, as we call it. But nonetheless, this was horse thieving. And that's just about all you can say about it. Now, it's just a little Palomino paint pony. It was for her 9-year-old son. Now, he's going to outgrow it soon enough, but, that's beside the point. Here's the thing. For the folks who took the pony, don't make me come look for you. If you were on my side of this county, I don't think that would have happened anyway, because I used to have a pretty nasty reputation. So, don't make me go hunt you down. You're not going to like it. So here's the prayer chain thing going out tonight. You need to pray for these scoundrels, these thieves that stole that pony. Okay? You need to pray that pony's returned. The police catch these folks before we need to call the wrath of our Creator down on them. If that is what He wants done. Right? Now, it doesn't matter whether He uses me or somebody else to do that. That's up to Him. But they need to come to justice. That's just what they need to do, however they need to do that. The other thing, we have a concern tonight for a lovely lady in Uganda. She's trying to get things back together for herself, the orphans that she takes care of. She had COVID earlier this year. That's a Palomino paint if you look at it in the sun. She had COVID earlier this year. She was down and out for a while, and that interfered with some of her income. And of course, the children going back to school, stuff's not free over, in other parts of the world. They have to pay to go to school. They have to pay for their school books. They have to pay for their uniforms. All of that costs, and she's behind. She's always, before this, has been able to meet her needs for her necessities and the necessities of the orphans. But she's finding herself in a little bit of a backswing, and she needs some help. Now, if you're able to give her some assistance and you want to contact her directly, I can hook you up That's not a problem. If you want to stay anonymous, let us know, and we will take care of that for you. We will get her the help she needs if you give us a call. Or go to the contact page on givegod90.com, let us know. Or you can leave a message here. The chat room's open. You can leave a message. That would be fine too. I think I got all the housekeeping stuff done. So let's get on with tonight's topic. And yes, it's going to deal with something some of you might not want to hear. I'm going to be honest with you. Some of y'all might not want to hear this tonight. But as with any collision, and I titled this When Worlds Collide, because that's what's going on this time of year, right? And as with any collision, there's going to be friction. Now, you typically think about automobiles when they crash together. There's friction, right? Paint gets exchanged. That's friction. That's a result of friction. But it seems that when the Christian and secular worlds come together and embrace Christmas, there's some kind of a magical lubricant that, and I know that sounds a little odd, but there's some type of magical lubricant that allows these very, very different points of view to coexist without a whole lot of trouble. Now, in the United States, there are some who would like to prevent the presentation of religious symbols or signs or representations on public ground. Now, the courts have established in the United States that public land belongs as much to the religious as it does to the secular. And with that in mind, items such as nativity scenes, Hanukkah, the 8-branch menorah, and other religious iconology from other religions are allowed to be displayed on public ground that is owned. Now, in the United States, public ground is actually owned by the people. The government doesn't own anything. It belongs to every person in the United States. So, with that in mind, for some reason, and I don't quite get this, but we're going to get into it a little bit. Okay, the most friction that surrounds the Christmas is the Christian nativity or the creche that's placed in the public areas, whether it's on a park or the lawn of a courthouse, windows in what we consider a government building. They don't like that. And it's kind of interesting. Now, for a little bit of reference, we need to understand that the very first nativity scene was the concept of St. Francis of Assisi, way back. Well, it wasn't that far back. It was in 1223 AD. Naturally, it's going to be AD because you can't have a nativity scene in BC, right? I mean, that just wouldn't happen. Right, okay. The life of St. Francis of Assisi was written by St. Bonaventure, who was a Franciscan monk. He was born just 5 years before St. Francis died. St. Francis is also considered the patron saint of animals. So is it really any wonder that animals are part of the nativity? Even though no animals are actually mentioned directly in what we call the Christmas story in the Bible, right? Even though it's not Christmas story. Just saying. Now, according to Bonaventure's biography, St. Francis actually received permission from Pope Honorius III to set up a manger with hay and 2 live animals. Guess what those 2 live animals were? An ox and a donkey. Is it any wonder? Anyway, he received permission to put these things in a cave in the Italian village of, and I'm going to ruin this name because I don't speak Italian, but I believe it's Gricio is how you say that. I believe. So, interestingly enough, though, And here's where the confusion comes for some of us. The same people who want to argue about the use of public land in the United States being used to display religious symbols are themselves completely comfortable with their tax dollars being used to pay what we consider public workers, right? People who work for the municipalities, people who might work for the state in some instances, people who may work for the federal government in some instances. They're perfectly comfortable with using the wages of those folks to put up the lights on, a lot of towns still put up Christmas lights in their towns, on their main streets. They're comfortable with that. They're comfortable with these folks putting up a tree and decorating it, lighting it. They're comfortable with their tax dollars paying the electricity for all of these lights, but they're not comfortable with a nativity scene. Now, doesn't that sound a little strange? Now, these same folks they're also comfortable when they get to benefit from the sales that the stores have during the last couple of months of the year. And oddly enough, many of these folks have these things in their own homes. They'll have lights, they'll have trees. They attend Christmas parties. They exchange gifts with other people. Some people they don't even like. They'll go out and buy a present for somebody they don't like because they have to, or they feel obligated to. They themselves are participating in the same religious rituals that many Christians use to celebrate the birth of Jesus. Isn't that amazing? Now, around the world, many countries are kind of neutral about Christmas. Some allow Christians and whomever else to celebrate the holiday without a great deal of interference. And some countries don't allow Christmas celebrations at all for various reasons. The primary Muslim countries are certainly not going to allow Christmas, right? That's not a secret, and it's absolutely their privilege. They are the majority in that country. They're the ruling group. So it's up to them what happens. There's some nations where the celebration kind of takes on customs of their own. India, for example, has a very, very small population of Christians. They celebrate Christmas. So while the actual celebration is very, very small, the custom of exchanging gifts is growing. And something else that's kind of growing that I thought was sort of strange when I read this, decorating banana and mango trees in some places is becoming very popular. Places you wouldn't expect to see a celebration of Christmas have adopted various parts of traditions as well. Russia, for example, the celebration's always been on January 7th instead of December 25th. Now, under former Soviet rule, the celebration was for New Year's, if you want to do the air quotes around the New Year's. But now they're free to celebrate Christmas, but, the traditions have all kind of merged together. They've sort of kind of formed this really odd group of traditions that they're doing. It's sort of like it's evolving. Now, the evolution of Christmas, there's something for us to think about, isn't it? All around the world, Christmas traditions, they sort of seem to include many of the local pagan traditions as well. Some places serve special food. Many of it you may have heard of. It's Italian, the Feast of the Seven Fishes, right? That's a one that revolves around food. Others, have songs that they only sing during the time of the winter solstice, which was a couple of days ago now, right? Yeah, 2 days ago. So these things are sort of interesting when we think about it. all of the Christmas traditions that become blended together and blur the lines, so to speak. Maybe we need to change some questions. Maybe the question we need to ask about all the various traditions, no matter where in the world they might come from, boils down to this simple question. Who is influencing whom? In other words, is it the Christians who are influencing the secular and atheistic world to celebrate Christmas? Or are the Christians actually accepting and including the pagan traditions along with their worship of the birth? Notice how I said that. They worship the birth of Yeshua, Jesus. When we put it in that context, it's pretty obvious that the Christians have included the traditions used to worship other gods, right along with the birth. Now, some of them may not realize that's what they're doing, but it's actually what they're doing. Now, if you think about these things, it sounds like another lesson we have from the Bible. And we can find that lesson in Exodus 32, verses 1 through 6.
The people saw that a long time had passed, and Moses had not come down from the mountain. So they gathered around Aaron. They said to him, "Moses led us out of Egypt, but we don't know what has happened to him. So make us gods who will lead us." Aaron said to the people, "Take off the gold that your wives, sons, and daughters are wearing. Bring them to me." So all the people took their gold earrings and brought them to Aaron. Aaron took the gold from the people. Then he melted it, and he made a statue of a calf. He finished it with a tool. Then the people said, "Israel, these are your gods who brought you out of the land of Egypt." Aaron saw all this, and he built an altar before the calf. Then he made an announcement. He said, "Tomorrow there will be a special feast of honor to the Lord." The people got up early the next morning. They offered whole burnt offerings and fellowship offerings. First the people sat down to eat and drink. Then they got up and had wild parties.
I shouldn't be laughing at this, but the similarities, I think you're going to find, are uncanny. Aaron made a golden calf, and he said, "Tomorrow we're going to have a feast to Yehovah, the Lord, the Creator." What's the difference between cutting a tree down or putting up a fake tree in your home, decorating it, following all of the pagan traditions? More on that in a few minutes. And putting a golden calf on an altar and saying, "Oh, we're doing this so that we can honor our Creator." You're going to do all the things that He says you shouldn't be doing, but we're doing all the things He says that just doesn't make sense when you really dig into it and start understanding it. I don't know who the first person was that said this, but someone said it's kind of like you going out and having an adulterous relationship and saying it's to honor your spouse. Because that's exactly what's happening. Now, we read some of this just the other day, but I'm going to have Maya read it again. It's Jeremiah 10, verses 3 through 5.
The customs of other people are worth nothing. Their idols are nothing but wood from the forest. They are made by a worker with his chisel. They decorate their idols with silver and gold. With hammers and nails they fasten them down. That keeps them from falling over. Their idols are like scarecrows in melon fields. They cannot talk. They cannot walk. They must be carried. Do not be afraid of those idols. They can't hurt you, and they can't help you either.
Okay, so putting the golden calf on the altar, putting the decorated tree in your house is exactly the same thing. You know, and well, I'll wait till I get there because I'm going to get to this in a second. Now, the atheist will not put a nativity scene in their house, but they'll have a tree. Why? Why is it that they can't have a nativity scene, or they reject a nativity scene, but they'll accept a tree? They'll accept the lights. They'll accept exchanging gifts. They know that the tree, the presents, the lights, the gifts, the song, the red-nosed caribou, all those things are I'm just going to say it this way so most people will understand this. All of those things are anti-Jesus. And if you're thinking anti-Christ, you are dead spot on. But what's worse than that is they are anti-creator. Christians are not blameless here. Okay? I don't know how many times I hear, that's not what it means to me. Or, and this is a good one, who cares when we celebrate? I hear these comments not just in the wintertime either. I hear these comments about a lot of things throughout the year. Not once a month, more like once or twice a week. It's like an epidemic of ignorance is what it is. We hear them from people that should know better. We hear them from friends and family. Now, we have a family member who keeps an artificial tree up year-round and decorates it for different things year-round. Springtime, there's eggs hanging on the tree, right? Little different colored eggs. Now, I am pretty sure this person has seen that picture of, Semiramis, Aphrodite, Asherah, Ishtar, Easter, whatever name you want to use. They're all the same person, same pagan goddess. There is a carved statue of this person, and it looks just like every other fertility. I'm getting tongue-tied here just thinking about that. But it looks just like every other fertility symbol out there. It's tall, but being feminine, this particular one that I'm thinking of has several breasts in the top portion of the statue. So, it's like this nasty looking thing. It's actually quite ugly. But a little further down where the womb area would be, you see it looks like it's impregnated, very impregnated, I should say, like ready to give birth at any moment. But carved on this pregnant portion are all of these little eggs. Lots and lots of eggs. So this particular fertility goddess is extremely fertile. That's what it is. Now, why would you want to have any type of association with that if you're claiming to be a representative either of the Father or the Son? It doesn't make any sense. If you claim to worship the Creator but continually decorate your house with these pagan idols, should you expect any different result than what the Israelites received when they worshiped the golden calf? Worse than that, how many Christians out there right, actually choose to distance themselves from the Hebrew people? Look at what happens in Exodus 32:11 through 14.
But Moses begged the Lord his God. Moses said, Lord, don't let your anger destroy your people. You brought these people out of Egypt with your great power and strength. Don't let the people of Egypt say, the Lord brought the Israelites out of Egypt, but he planned to kill them in the mountains and destroy them from the earth. So stop being angry. Don't destroy your people. Remember the men who served you, Abraham, Isaac, and Israel. You promised with an oath to them. You said, I will make your descendants as many as the stars in the sky. I will give your descendants all this land that I have promised them. It will be theirs forever. So the Lord changed his mind. He did not destroy the people as he said he might.
Well, the only reason he didn't destroy the Israelites, he didn't change his mind. He didn't have a choice. Because he had made a covenant with Abraham. That particular translation isn't technically correct, but it's still a decent translation, especially if you're just trying to get the highlights of the lessons. The only reason the Israelites were not destroyed, Moses reminded him. He intervened and reminded the Almighty that he had a covenant with Abraham. If you refuse to join yourself with the children of Israel, the children of Abraham, to be grafted in, to be adopted, you don't have that same protection. You reject that protection. The traditions of Christmas are completely pagan. Even Pat Robertson admits he has like a 3-minute and 40-second video from 2014 where he just kind of chuckles and says, oh, we've Christianized those traditions. Acts 10 reminds us of something. Acts 10 reminds us we don't have the authority to determine what is holy and what is not. That responsibility is retained by the Almighty Creator himself. Look at Acts 10, 28 and 29.
He said, you people understand that it is against our Jewish law for a Jew to associate with or visit anyone who is not a Jew. But God has shown me that I should not call any person unholy or unclean. That is why I did not argue when I was asked to come here. Now please tell me why you sent for me.
Now, a lot of people try to make Acts chapter 10 about food. Right there, we see that Acts chapter 10, Peter is saying, you people know, by Jewish law, by the rabbinic law, I shouldn't be here. But God, the Almighty himself, has shown me something different. Peter, being the disciple he was, learned one important lesson. Don't worry about what the Pharisees say. You worry about what Moses said. And what Moses said was, you believe the Almighty every time. God has shown me I cannot call any person unholy or unclean, because that is restricted for the Almighty himself. We don't get to pick and choose. We don't get to say, oh, well, God said in Leviticus 11 we shouldn't eat that, but it's okay. We've Christianized it. We can't do that. We don't have the opportunity. We can't determine, we really shouldn't offer our children to these idols as a sacrifice. But it's okay. We've Christianized it. Uh-oh. Is that stepping on some toes out there? I hope. Not just stepping on them, jumping up and down on some of them, I imagine by now. When the Christian and secular worlds collide over Christmas, who wins? When Christians accept and include the trees, the lights, the presents, Santa, Frosty, Rudolph, pick your traditions, who wins? Well, you can be sure of this. It's not the Christians that win. It's not even the atheists that win. It's not even the traditions that win. In the end, they all lose. Because in the end, it is the Creator himself who wins. And what you listen very carefully to what I'm going to say, because when the Creator wins, his victory march is the parade of believers into the New Jerusalem. Should I say that again? When the Creator wins, his victory march is the parade of believers into the New Jerusalem. And if you refuse to repent, if you reject the Almighty, if you refuse to live the way you're designed to live, you won't be included in that parade. And none of your excuses are going to matter. Doesn't matter how many times that's not what it meant to me. That's not what I thought. That's not what I thought I was doing. When the books are opened, you're standing in front of the one who will judge you righteously. Either none of the evil things that you have ever done will be remembered, or none of the righteous things you've ever done will be mentioned. That's up to you. Good intentions aren't going to matter. What you say at that point is not going to matter. It's all over and done with. It is your actions that you do right now that will determine your eternity. You need to figure out where yours is going to be. And of course, like I say, every time, if you need help with all of that, if you need to understand how to learn how to live the way you're designed to live, if you want to improve your life, we can help with that. If you want to live the way you're designed to live, if you want to do the things you're designed to do, if you want to, let's take it from Jeremiah 29, if you want to live according to the ideas that he has for you, we can help you with that. You can learn how to live the way you're designed to live. You can turn loose of the pagan traditions. You can get rid of all the junk, get rid of all the stuff that is causing you the problems, and you can secure your eternity. It's not that difficult to do. It's a lifestyle. It's not a insurance policy, right?
Right.
Now, I got through that fairly calm, didn't I? I'm getting better at that because most of the time I would have gotten quite loud, quite upset. But what are you waiting for? I know a lot of the people who listen to this have already chosen to live that lifestyle. But you need to address it with the folks around you. You need to live your life as the example. Don't allow yourself to be taken in and include the pagan traditions, include the other things. So, we will be back Monday. Did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
Thank you for being here and listening to us tonight.
Absolutely. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, everyone. Until Monday, many, many blessings.